Okay folks, Sunday afternoon, I'm making bread, thought you might like to just see what I'm up to. It's really casual, background noises, etc. This isn't professional, just thought you might like to see what I'm doing. So my preferred bread recipe is it's called the gluten and nut-free brown bread rolls from the Good Kitchen Table, which is very kindly a free website from the Chaldees. So after experimenting with lots of different recipes, this is the one that I come back to all the time. I've got some already in the oven, which I'll show you in a minute. But once you've found a recipe that you enjoy, you like the flavour of, it's easy. It's a really good idea to make time one day a week to do your prepping, batch bake for efficiency, and you'll stand a better chance of staying on track. So the flaxseed rolls, or to say they're basically flax. I've got various things measured out. The flax seeds that I like to use are golden flax seeds, and I have a NutriBullet, so I can actually grind them fresh every time, because these do tend to go off if they're left hanging around. They can go a bit rancid. So I've just blitzed these, so that's half of my amount that I'm needed. If you put too much in to start with, they just don't go. So this is the second half. Okay, pop that in, and I've actually got a milling blade. You don't need that specifically, but what you will see is that if you are blending it yourself with a NutriBullet, excuse the noise, can you see that it's kind of like, looks like a sandcastle? That means it's nice and finely done, and that's it, ready now to put in the bottom into a bit mixing bowl. So the recipe requires coconut flour, and again, for speed, I just stick it all on the digital scale, and it's not an exact science, but I think what's quite important is to actually get all your dry ingredients really well mixed before you add any liquid. So, because I'm doing 4 times the quantity, I've got 80 grams of that, the coconut flour. I need 40 grams of psyllium husks, so I'll zero that. 40 grams psyllium husks. Now, a lot of you probably won't have heard of psyllium, but it's something that crops up a lot in low carb baking. 40, there we go. It's roughly, give or two. Now, these are psyllium husks. And I got these from Amazon, and you will see that they're very pale, very white in colour, and these are the ones that are going to give a lovely colour to the bread. So I've weighed those out. I'll show you what the effect is if you use powder instead. So that's the psyllium. For this recipe, as I said, quadruple the recipe, I've got 2 teaspoons of salt, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, put that all in. So I've got my coconut flour, psyllium, flaxseed, baking powder, salt. So I'm going to make sure all the lumps are gone, because once you get the liquid in, it's really difficult to get the little lumps of, if the baking powder is a little bit lumpy, the coconut flour, if it's lumpy, it's difficult to get it out. So then I've got that all mixed up in the bowl like that, nice and evenly distributed. Just simply put 4 eggs in. You can get away with 3 large eggs, no problem. And then give it a good old mash up. So it's just rough, it doesn't have to be, as I say, it's not an exact science, it's quite forgiving. Right. So again, you can either go in with your hands, but I'm basically just chopping the egg through the mixture. So it's a bit lumpy like that. Then I'm going to weigh in 640 mils of water. This is a little bit more important, but you get this fairly accurate. So I've zeroed my scales and I'm just going to pour in 640 grams or milliliters, the same thing, of water. That's 500. That's 630. Yeah, that's fine. So then get your spatula and start giving it a good stir, and you end up with what looks like a really sloppy porridge, but rest assured they're going to come out fine. So you've got this wet sloppy batter. A good stir, make sure there's no dry bits left at the bottom. Okay, now at the moment that is a little bit soft, but we'll give that a few minutes and that will firm up nicely, certainly enough to actually shape into bread roll type things. While that's firming up, I'll explain a little bit about a psyllium husk. So this is a soluble fibre. It's actually used a lot in constipation, what do you call it? But anyway, so as I say, this one is from Amazon. It's by Planet Au Naturel, and it will give a nice light white coloured roll. 0 carbohydrates to speak of. So and I'll just show you, I have another packet. This is by Bulk, and this is, you can see this is actually psyllium husk powder. So you do have to be careful that you don't interchange them, or if you do change them in the recipe, go by weight, not volume. So I've got some rolls coming out with that one in a second. We'll have a look at what they look like too. The coconut flour, well that's just, you can get that in Tesco's, all the big supermarkets as well. Nothing special there. It's just psyllium that's the one that's slightly difficult, but you can get it in Holland and Barrett. Okay, so this has had tiny amount, a little bit of time. It's starting to firm up nicely. I'm just going to wet my hands and just grab balls of this mixture. And then when I've got the ball, you can either sprinkle, if you want to, you don't have to, but sprinkle some nuts and seeds on top to make them look pretty, give them a bit of crunch. So I've wetted my hands, I've made it into a ball. Now I'm going to actually do this because I found that I get a lovely good sort of coating and the seeds are quite well attached. I found that if I sprinkle them on, there's more on the baking sheet than there is on the rolls. So again, I'm just dunking it in, turning it over. Till you get the hang of it, just sprinkle them on. But I think they make a big difference to the experience. So that's it. You see, that's right. So that's that. I'll just work my way through. You can weigh it out. I think they're roughly, if you want them all exact, they have to be reasonably the same size, so they all cook at the same speed, which is ideal. And you can either make them flattish, so you get more surface area for your cheese on top, or little balls look very pretty as well. But as long as they're all pretty much the same, so they cook at the same speed, and you will get quite quick at this. Okay, so there we go. So that's those done. Right. So I'm just using a seed mix, but you can use anything that you've got in your cupboard. Little bits of leftover sesame, poppy, pumpkin, sunflower, flax. But as I say, I think the important thing is to just get into a habit of doing this, because even, you know, at the outset when you think, oh, I don't need bread anymore, it kind of creeps back up on you, and you'll start looking for something to make a sandwich. And you know, if it just means that you've got these in the freezer, I store them in the fridge so they don't go mouldy, because they've got egg, and you know, they're a bit different, and certainly they're very different from supermarket bread that's stuffed full of preservatives. So now I'm going to stop there. In fact, I'll do one more, I think, because I'm just going to show you how to do a flatbread as well, because this mixture is lovely for that. Same recipe, and I usually, when I'm at this stage, try, if I remember, keep a little bit of mixture back to make flatbreads. So there, I have now 11 lovely flaxseed rolls. I'm going to put them in the oven, so they're going to go in for 30 minutes. Oh, would help if I switched the oven on. So let's work around that way. Right. So the flatbreads are the same principle, same mixture, and about the same weight too. You probably find it about 75 grams roughly. But what I'm going to do here is get a ball, however big you like it. I'm going to get my hands wet again. Okay, so ball like that, and then dollop it on. Now I'm just going to use my hands to spread it around and smooth it out until it's become about, I suppose, about 6 inches across, something like that. 6 or 7 inches, just quite thin. Again, if this is just for your own home use, as these are for me, I don't bother trimming them. They don't have to look perfect by any means. Okay. So, but if you want it to look really pretty, then pot lid or a plate, something like that, go around it, you know, just scrape the excess away, and there you go. You've got a half decent looking sort of chapati style flatbread. If I'm using these for curry, I tend to sprinkle on black onion seeds, colonia, nigella seeds. You can get these in the supermarkets. Some crushed chilies and some garlic granules. So I usually take a little bit more care with this. But now, trick. Get another piece of non-stick baking sheet and gently press it down on top of the seeds so that they actually go into the soft mixture. Otherwise, when you go to pick it up, they will all fall off. So that's a flatbread, and I'll continue making the rest of those in a minute. But I'll stick this in the oven, probably about 20 minutes, something like that. That oven's on. Right, let's have a look at the other flax rolls I made. Okay, so this is exact same recipe. I've cooked these in the air fryer. We'll just get the packet. If you're not sure whether or not you'll like these, you could always start off with a packet of milled linseed or flaxseed. It's the same thing. This is from Aldi's, and start trying with these. They're pretty good actually. They often quite freshly processed. So yeah, the little rolls that I made with the Aldi flax look like this. I've just put pumpkin seeds on top. I'm going to break one open just to show you what they look like on the inside. Now all these are actually a lot better eaten the day after you make them. They're very wet on the inside, so you can see there just ever so slightly, I mean, that's not bad actually, just ever so slightly purpley, a lot darker than the ones that will be coming out. Yeah. So what I'll do, I will just get some photographs of the finished products, the finished rolls, the finished flatbreads, put some recipe links in to the website. If you're going to do it regularly, I've done that. So I've printed it out, how it, 4 times the quantities to make it really easy, and book your Saturday or Sunday mornings to get cooking.